Just like that, it's Thursday and we are ready for another weekend of championship action. So today we're going to be predicting each of the 12 championship games this weekend. Can it live up to the 40 goals scored last weekend? Let's find out. So starting off on Friday night at the CBS, Coventry versus Oxford. Would not have expected us going into this one with Coventry coming off the back of a defeat and Oxford coming off the back of an opening day win. So potentially some pressure on Coventry here because, as I say, they haven't started well in the last few seasons. That's arguably been what's cost them a place in the playoffs come the end of the campaign. So a bit of pressure on them to get that monkey off their back, so to speak, here. And on paper, you could say they couldn't have a better fixture for that. But Oxford, proven on the opening day, they beat Norwich convincingly. And they've proven that they can step up to this level. They can be brave and they can play some pretty good football. However, I do believe that their advantage massively comes at the Kazam. I think it will be a tough night for them at the CBS. Friday night, under the lights, Coventry fans behind their team. I think they will push them to a win. I don't think it'll be anywhere near as convincing as maybe we'd have thought before the season had started, but I do think Coventry will edge this one and finally get themselves off the mark. I'm going to go Coventry 2, Oxford 1. Moving to Saturday and one of the three 12:30 kickoffs. First of all, the one I'm going to, Derby Boro. I have done, as I do every week, a more in-depth preview of this game on the channel in my Project Boro preview show, so check that out if you want to know more. But as for this one, I am more confident about Boro than I would have been coming into the season. As I say, I'm more concerned about the occasion than I am the opposition. I feel like Derby looked a little bit vulnerable against Blackburn defensively, didn't create all that much from open play. Boro will have to be very mindful of Derby's crossing and set pieces, but Boro, after last night's game against Leeds, will be full of confidence. We are looking extremely solid right now, and we are a chance-creating machine. So my only worry is, as I say, the occasion. You know, opening day at Pride Park, their first home game back in the Championship. The little bit of needle between the two clubs, which I think will still be lingering around. I don't think Derby would have wished for a better club to play at home in their first home game and beat than Boro. So they'll be up for this. We'll have to manage the game extremely well, but we did so at Ellen Road, so I'd like to think we will at Pride Park. So I have gone for Boro to win this one. Haven't gone for us to keep another clean sheet. I do have a feeling Derby will get a goal here, but I've gone Derby 1, Boro 2. Heading down to Fratton Park, another newly promoted side with their opening home game of the season, and a bit like the game with Coventry, two unexpected outcomes from both these sides. Portsmouth went to Ellen Road, almost got a win, got a great point. Luton were battered at home by Burnley. So, again, on paper, prior to the season, you might have Luton as an absolute guaranteed winner here. But after seeing the two sides, I'm not so sure. And as I said with Derby, Fratton Park will be absolutely packed. The atmosphere down there will be unbelievable, and it will be an incredibly tough place for Luton to go and get something. And I think there are quite a few concerns around their defence after the game against Burnley. So this isn't as much of a nailed-on result for Luton as I think many would think, and I have a feeling, like with Derby, Portsmouth will rely, and like Oxford even, on their home form this season, and I do think Portsmouth will pick up another point here. I can see goals in this one, so I'm going to go Portsmouth 2, Luton 2. Up to West Brom now, and they play Leeds United. Now, this is one hell of a clash. West Brom, despite all the off-field issues, got off to a great start with a very good win away at QPR. Leeds, though, haven't got going and have looked very, very poor defensively. They've conceded 6 goals already to Pompey and Boro last night when we could have had more. Little bit of pressure, little bit of angst already starting to rise from the Leeds fans here, and I know it's only game 2, but I feel a little bit of pressure, and this is such a tough game for Leeds. You know, Corberan has had Leeds' number of late, and I think he will thrive in this sort of game. So I'm backing West Brom. I'm backing West Brom here. I just feel like Corberan will just pull out another masterclass. I don't think it will be without goals. Every game so thus far with Leeds has had goals in it. I think they'll equally concede, but they'll equally be as much of a threat going the other way. But I've got West Brom to edge what will be a 5-goal thriller. West Brom 3, Leeds 2. To Ashton Gate now, Bristol City, Millwall, two sides who maybe would have expected better results on the opening day. Bristol City drawing to Hull, Millwall losing to Watford, albeit they deserved more. But this is a tough one to predict. I don't think it will be a game full of goals. I think it'll be a close game, a tight game. And I think Bristol City will probably edge this one. I'm liking the look of Bristol City, and I feel like home advantage will give them the slight edge over Millwall, whose wait for a first win will have to wait that little bit longer. I'm going to go Bristol City 2, Millwall 1. To Turf Moor, and, well, one of the two most impressive teams from opening weekend, and that is Burnley. They host Cardiff, who weren't too bad against Sunderland, but still come off the back of a 2-0 defeat. I just see a Burnley win here. They looked so convincing and so clinical at Luton, and I just feel like going to Burnley and getting anything will be tough for most sides in the league this season, and I can see them putting another few goals in this one. So I'm going to go with a score to nil, dominant Burnley win, Burnley 3, Cardiff 0. To Carrow Road now, Norwich against Blackburn, and like a few games, wouldn't have expected the two sides coming into this off of the respective results they had. Norwich off of an opening day defeat at Oxford, and Blackburn not only beating Derby but putting 6 past Stockport. Blackburn have started the season unbelievably well. I don't think many people saw this coming, and Sammy Smodics is still there. So much respect for him to sticking around and banging in the goals still, despite his future being up in the air. And I think as long as he is in the Blackburn team, they've got a chance. And I think Norwich are going through a real period of transition, and I'm not too sure how long it will take Thorup to find his best Norwich team. There's just so much going on at that club with potential outgoings, their best players leaving and being linked with moves elsewhere. I feel like it just will take time for things to settle down a bit, and this could be a good time to play Norwich. And Blackburn equally have still got their best player. He's not gone yet. So I can't believe I'm saying this, because prior to a ball being kicked this season, I would never have had Blackburn to beat Norwich. But I think just in terms of where both teams are right now, I fancy Blackburn here. So I'm going to go with a narrow win for Blackburn. I'm going to go Norwich 1, Blackburn 2. To the south coast then, and to home park, Plymouth host Hull City. Now, of course, Plymouth did finally get off the mark with Wayne Rooney's first win in the Cup, albeit it was against Cheltenham. I still feel like there are so many questions to be asked of this Plymouth side in the league, and Hull haven't started well either. They were knocked out the Cup by Sheffield Wednesday, just rescued a draw on the opening day. As I said in last week's prediction video, this is a good time to play Hull City, given, a bit like Norwich, all the upheaval at the club right now and all of the transition with players coming and going. But then it could be an even better time to play Plymouth, because that opening day defeat cannot be looked past. It was one of the worst performances I've seen from a championship team in a long time. So I don't know how much of that cup win will give Plymouth and Rooney's side a boost, but going back into the bread and butter of the championship against a solid championship outfit in Hull City, I think Hull will get the win here. I think Plymouth will revert back to being second best. I'd like to think it won't be as bad as it was against Wednesday, but it's hard to back Plymouth to get anything at this point. So I'm going to go with a Hull City win. A narrow one though, as I'm not overly convinced by either side, but I'm going to go Plymouth 0, Hull 1. And to Bramall Lane now, Sheffield United have their first home game of the season at home to QPR, and I can't see anything other than a Sheffield United win, if I'm honest. QPR, disappointing start to the season, losing at home, looked a little bit poor defensively, not much going forward. Find it hard to argue that they'll get anything here against the Sheffield United side, who got a good win against Preston, weren't absolutely great here, but I can see a bit like Turf Moor, Bramall Lane being a tough place to go and get much from this season. So I predict Sheffield United to pick up their second win from 2 games, and they'll get a clean sheet once more. I'm going to go Sheffield United 2, QPR 0. To Swansea now, Swansea and Preston, two sides who had defeats on the opening day and could very well do with getting some points on the board here. Swansea, of course, come to Boro and improved as the game went on, but didn't really create all that much despite all their possession. Preston, I mean, at this moment in time, who knows what we might get from them. They beat Sunderland in the Cup 2-0, which was quite a decent win, but yet they still don't have a manager. We don't know what their preparation's been like for this game. Expect the unexpected, I guess, from Preston in this one, but I'm not exactly all that convinced by Swansea either, so I've just gone down the middle with this one. I've gone with a score draw. Swansea 1, Preston 1. Watford-Stoke is the final game on Saturday, and again, not much to split these two either, both with opening day wins, maybe both with unlikely opening day wins. Watford beating Millwall, of course. I will once again reiterate that I feel like Watford were a tad fortunate to beat Millwall given the chances Millwall had. The fact that two of Watford's goals, well, one came from a corner, one was a worldie of a free kick, and the third might have been offside. So the jury's still out for me on Watford and Tom Cleverley. Stoke, of course, played quite well and beat Coventry, but these are two sides who I think are going to be very, very close together throughout the season in terms of league table results and where they finish. So again, I'm going to go down the middle with this one. I'm going to go with Watford 1, Stoke 1. And finally, what a game this will be on Sunday. The Stadium of Light, you've got Sunderland against Danny Roll's flying Sheffield Wednesday. Now, this will be interesting to see how Wednesday get on here, because I think people are still curious as to last week's result against Plymouth. How much of it was Wednesday being great? How much of it was Plymouth being dire? What I will say is Sheffield Wednesday put together another very good performance, beating Hull in the Cup last night. So I think they are a very good-looking side, and going to the Stadium of Light will be a much tougher test for them. Sunderland, of course, themselves coming off the back of an opening day win. So I find this one very, very difficult to call, but I just have a feeling things are so good at Wednesday right now. They're playing good football and they'll be absolutely brimming with confidence. So I've got Wednesday to pick up another 3 points here and get another impressive win down at the Stadium of Light. Sheffield Wednesday to come out on top here. I've gone Sunderland 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. So there's my predictions for round 2. Let me know yours in the comment section below, where you think your team will end up this weekend. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, hit a like on the video, subscribe for much more, hit the bell too so you never miss when a video drops. We do prediction videos of the Championship, we do roundups of the Championship, among much more football content here on the channel. But until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the weekend of football, and I'll see you all next time.